first today?
Sam, you go first.
Want me to go first? Okay. Well, I think if anyone has seen, before I start, just want to say things on the forefront of the scoop stuff is at kind of it's kind of slowed down a bit. The stuff that I saw that people are talking about lately were in Japan was the possible comeback of the new Celica, right? And dude, we were all over that a couple of weeks ago. So we're actually in front of some of the Japanese scoop magazines.
Were they talking about it being a hatchback, Sam, or is it something else again?
No. It's a hatchback. Like it always was, James. It's a hatchback. There's a hatch.
The ninjas are taking a break.
And it's on the back, and you lift the hatch. It's not a trunk or a boot, as you guys would say. It's a hatchback. So, but anyway, while we were just like hanging out waiting for info, Lexus kind of had a very big unveiling just actually a few days ago. And why it was big, a lot of people think, oh, Lexus is just another new concept car but actually this thing, there's a little more to this car, this one, and it's called the LFZ. And what it is, or the LFZ electrified, LFZ electrified. And of course it is an all electric car. And with this car, Lexus has said they will introduce 20 new vehicle models, including PHEVs, HEVs, BEVs. I mean, everything across the hybrid electric vehicle spectrum, and and everything will be diverse. So pretty much what I took that to mean is they're going after Tesla. I think a lot of people are going after Tesla, but if you think about it, when Tesla kind of became big, who did they take a lot of market share from? Yeah, Lexus. So I think this is a little payback, I hope, for Lexus to make this announcement. And with this LFZ electrified, it has, this thing is...
when is this thing coming out, did they say?
Well, they say all of this stuff is 2025.
2025, that's right.
Yeah. And this LFZ electrified, it's got optimal placement of the battery and the electric motors, new four-wheel drive force control technology that they call it, called Direct 4, right?
The electrified little logo in the back is kind of goofy, though. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
it literally says electrified in the back. Well,
it's electrified, that's why. Okay. So.
I like the idea of you just had a button that could press that and it would illuminate, so when you beat someone at the traffic lights, you could just flash it in their face afterwards. That's what I like to have. Yeah.
Right.
You've been electrified.
Exactly. That's what I like it for.
So anyways, all these electric variants and electric cars by 2025. So they're going to go pretty hard after Tesla. And I think a lot of people, like I said before, are coming after Tesla. Porsche with their Taycan, and GM, of course, they're going to go all electric. Mary Barra, the CEO, has announced that they'll be all electric in in 2030 or whatever.
What about that new company called Volkswagen?
Okay, well, you heard about that, right? So Volkswagen announced that they were the U.S. version of Volkswagen was going to go by the name of Volkswagen, as in volts as in electricity, just to kind of promote their electric car plans. But we hear it was an early April Fool's joke, and of course they're not going to change their name Volkswagen to Volkswagen. I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Because Volkswagen means in German, right? Volkswagen, right? People's car. Yeah. So Volkswagen. Yeah. So that was a April Fool's prank, supposedly, even though it wasn't even April Fool's yet. So anyways, and by 2050, Lexus says they're going to go all carbon neutrality, through the life cycle of their entire model range. So every single car will be, by 2050, there will not be an engine car, a gasoline engine. And 2050 is still a ways away, but But here's the thing, guys. I mean, and you tell me what you think. I mean, you know, and Elon Musk said this too. Hey, if, you know, GM, all these, if we all are driving electric cars, there's not going to be enough electricity to power everyone's cars, you know? So what are we going to do about that? So
they're going to have to burn more coal to
generate electricity. But then you're not carbon neutral, right? So
you're not. I know.
Yeah. So, you know, so I really think fuel cells are really one of the major, you know, ways to go, because, you know, the emission and everything is water, you know, and producing hydrogen, I hear it could be done pretty cleanly. So that's one way. And then of course, you know, but I don't know if we'll have enough wind power, you know, solar power, hydropower to do all this. I mean, nuclear is another one, but then, you know, the bad connotation nuclear energy has. So, you know, I think there's going to be a problem once, you know, a lot of electric vehicles start driving on the road, you know. So, and right now, hey, you guys, I want to ask you guys, are you guys ready to abandon your gasoline powered vehicles and go all electric? Can you? James, you are. A lot of people are,
James,
you know.
James is nodding.
Yeah, James is nodding. And what about you? I don't know if I am. I don't need the range anxiety. I mean, I know the charging times are a lot quicker now, and I know, you know, they have 250-mile range, but dude, there's sometimes where, you know, I mean, I need that, you know, I need that gasoline powered range, and, you know, because I drive to LA downtown. Sometimes I have to make two trips downtown, you know, from where I am in Orange County. So, and James, you're in Pasadena. I mean, you know, you used to drive around a lot before the COVID
James
thing,
is not in Pasadena.
Oh, not Pasadena, Hollywood. Sorry, Hollywood. I always think I corrected myself without anyone telling me. So James, I mean, you tell me why you can go all electric. Why you can own this car right here, the LFZ electrified.
Well, I mean, I have absolutely zero issues with electricity and electric cars. I think that it's totally viable to have a car. I mean, on the few times that I drive more than 300 miles in a day, then I would need it. But in the last year that I've done that, if we're going by the last year, there was only 1 week where I drove more than 300 miles every day where I would have needed this. And that was when I did my road trip of sorts.
Right.
So until then, there was absolutely no need. And even if I'd done in the more trips in a regular year where we're actually able to go different places, there would have only been a handful more of times. I mean, I could drive this to Vegas. That's 300 miles, plug it in and go.
I don't know if you can drive it to Vegas, because you got to remember, that's all numbers without air conditioning, you know, lights, you know, all that stuff. And air conditioning is going to zap you quite a bit. That's going to take your 250 down to probably about 150. You know what I'm saying?
They've got you can get a Tesla that just drives you to Vegas. So if Tesla can do it, everyone else can do it. I don't have a problem with that. So there's that. I can tip it to San Francisco. I mean, the plan is that they're basically designing this so you can take a trip from Los Angeles to San Francisco. That's what they say their key demographic is.
That's a good number. That makes a lot of sense.
So
that's a 7-8 hour day.
So that's what Jaguar based theirs on. It's what Genesis built their new EV concept on. That is actually what they'll say. If you talk to the marketing people, they say the goal of this car is to drive an individual from the Bay Area to Los Angeles. That's our target market and target demographic is the US. So I don't need to go any more than that in a day. That's more than enough for me.
How often do you drive to San Francisco? I haven't driven to San Francisco in ages. So
that, I mean, this car as well, I mean, aside from obviously the concept car wheels and as Tara mentions, the electrified badge on the back, and I think for me,
good looking car.
The grill is a little off for me. I'm just not such a fan of the grill.
It's a concept car grill, if you ask me.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's the concept car grill matches the concept car wheels, matches the concept car back. But if you look at if I could try and figure out where it is, the side profile on this, I think is really pretty. And it's really close to what their RX series of cars is now. It's like a mashup of their...
it's a little sportier, huh? With the whole, you know, the steeply raked A-pillar and stuff. But
so I think... Yeah, I think they're taking the A-pillar, for example. I think that's really sort of reminiscent from taking the top half of, say, an RCF and marrying it to the bottom of what an SUV would be of sorts. So that's where I see. I mean, I think it's a good-looking car.
Me too. I really like it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
like it too.
how much headroom there would be inside just because how steeply raked that and low the roof is. But yeah, from the
Yeah, that
outside.
A-pillar might have to be angled a little bit, you know,
I
upwards a
wouldn't
little bit, but
I wouldn't be surprised if when they do the seating of it, that it's got no problems in the back when you look at it there for that second person, their head
Back
would be
maybe,
coming
yeah.
up about
Okay.
there. So I think you just lose the storage in the back here with the space. But then, I mean, you've got to ask a question, how much space is going to be up front in regards to it? So they might give what you lose in the back for space for luggage, for example, in the back, you might get more space for like a small carry-on in the front of the car.
Probably
So
because yeah, it's their motors and batteries probably on the floor. So
exactly. So I
Yeah.
think that that there's going to be enough room to seat, and it'll probably seat four because that's where they sort of go in this demographic, the high end, 2 seats in the front, two at the back, and I think it'll be. I mean, I think it's lovely.
yeah, I do too. I do too. I think so.
I like it too. I think it's a great
So good. So
styling.
we like what Lexus and Toyota are doing here.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, even like the spindle grill, I'm not really a fan of it, but if it's like this, it looks okay though. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not.
yeah, it's a little
It's still
spindle there. Yeah.
I will say that
there.
grill looks very easy to clean because it looks very just straightforward. You can just wipe it straight down. I mean, I like that idea.
Unless it's got all kinds of little, patterns or
That's
something in there.
that's what the microfiber cloth is for, Sam. You just like get straight in there and just rub it all out. It's fine.
Is it
Just
okay?
spray and wipe. Just
I know-
But
spray and
I know-
James, you know me. I have people do that for me.
That's what I was
don't
going
do
to
that
say. You
myself.
don't know this,
Exactly.
Sam, because
I
your
don't.
team does that for you, or they
Exactly,
outsource it.
exactly.
Whereas
My
me, on the
peeps.
other hand, I'd have to get in there and give it the old wax
Okay.
on, wax off treatment.
Yeah, I got to do it myself.
So, all right. But anyways,
Thumbs up,
that's the Lexus that dropped a couple days ago. So, and not only is the LFZ electrified, the whole story is that Lexus is going pretty much aggressively electric, and I think aggressively going after Tesla, whose I think market value is probably is bigger than anyone out there right now. So
I think also that Lexus are also distinctly going after the European brands as well. Obviously, Audi's been very prominent in their
Exactly,
push
with
towards
their e-tron,
electrification.
right.
Yeah, with their e-tron range.
Yep.
I think so. I think honestly, as opposed to Tesla, I think Lexus, that's going to be their one that they're focusing on is e-tron. I think that's their target demographic.
yeah, well, they're coming out with a series of cars, not just this one. So they might be thinking they might be the new guys that lead the way. So, but yeah, it's exciting. We'll see. And I think Lexus is a good brand to do it with. It's a premier upmarket brand. It's got the Lexus Toyota reputation. So I think if out of all the Japanese car brands, I think Lexus is in the best position to do something like this. So
Definitely.
okay, so that's it with me. Unless we want to go through the my
Let's go. Let's
second
go,
top
Sam.
50.
Let's
Okay,
go.
so let's do this. Let's do a little review. We'll start with 50, and we'll just boom, 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 and then once we hit 45, I will start asking you guys what you guys think. So.
Okay, so we did 50 to 45. We did
50 to
these already.
44. So
50 to
so
46 we did, Sam.
46, yeah. So 50 was the Toyota Celica, this Celica coupe, the rear drive one. 48 was the Honda CRZ, as we see, the
49.
first hybrid sports car. And Honda was brave enough to do it, and they get awarded for being in this top 50. 48 was Suzuki Swift Sport, a car we did not get too familiar with in the US, but it is just an absolute blast to drive. 47 is the Lexus RCF, kind of a little upmarket, upscale GT with a lot of horsepower, naturally aspirated horsepower, which I really enjoy driving. 46 is Mitsubishi FTO, kind of a unicorn of sorts that was only marketed in Japan. And then now number 45 is the Honda Beat. Guys, let me just ask you, first of all, do you guys remember this car? Because it wasn't sold here. And two, does it belong would it belong in your top 50? Because it's number 45 in mine. Hello?
I remember this car. Yeah, I remember this car.
Have either of you driven it?
I have
I've never driven this car though.
Oh, okay.
I've not driven this one, but I'd like to drive this one, the Cappuccino, and the Autozam. I think are the three that I'd like
Very
to
good.
give it a try.
Another one you should add to that list, James, is the Daihatsu Kopen.
Of course, yeah, but they still manufacture that one though, right?
That is correct.
So I
That
was
is
supposed to
correct.
go in with 3 ones that they
Yeah.
don't make anymore. as
So
opposed
to me, it was between the Cappuccino, the Kopen, or the Beat to put a K car in here, and I chose this one because number one, it's what's cool about it. It's mid-engine, man. You know, I mean, who would think about making a little K car, you know, which is a 660cc engine, and you know has the dimensions has to fit in a box, so it can be only so big, and they made it into a mid-engine car, which is awesome, I thought. So it's only 130 inches long, guys. So that means, you know, a Ford Transit has a 130-inch wheelbase. So this thing would fit like right in between the wheelbase of a Ford Transit. That's how small this car is.
Sam, you've obviously, I'm guessing you've driven this though, right?
Yes, I've driven. Yeah.
How is it for sizing? Because from what I've only heard, is that
Well,
this is a little tight, and that the Suzuki Cappuccino was better for normal sized people.
I think so because, when we drove this in Japan, and one of my colleagues was a much bigger guy than me. He was taller, and you know he weighed like a lot more. He fit in the Cappuccino fine, but he wasn't very comfortable in this. So yeah, you're right. The Cappuccino did have a little more space, but there's plenty of space in this, and especially it's a convertible. But you know, even with the top up, it was fine for me. Yeah, it's snug, but it's supposed to be. It's a K car, right? But oh, it's an absolute hoot to drive. You know, it only has what 63 horsepower. You know, coming from that 660 or it's 656, I think, cc engine. But the thing revs to 8,100 RPM. That 63 horsepower comes at 8,100 RPM. So it's a little, you know, it's a little screaming motor, you know. But Taro, you never drove this, huh? While you were in Japan?
No, I never got the chance to drive
Or
this car.
you just didn't do K cars?
I didn't do K cars.
Yeah, K cars, you know, I mean, it's not like they're not really very prestigious, right? Or anything. But
Well, yeah, not because of the prestige, but it's just like when you have other cars, like when you're living in Japan, you have so many other options, especially
you know,
this era, right?
yeah.
Honda was coming out with so many other cars at the time. You know, they had Civics and Integras, and
Mhm.
it was just like, why go K? You know, that was a thing.
Yeah, well,
It's a
this
big-
one is definitely not going to be your only car, you know, the way it drove, and it was you know, like I said, it's mid-engine, rear wheel drive, so it was kind of a, you know, an enthusiast version of the K car. So,
Mhm.
anyways, that's why I put this at number 45. I thought it was kind of a apt little, you know, a mini NSX, if you will, you know. So,
It's like a mini S2000, right?
well, the
Like a
S2000 was
mini
front
S-
engine.
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. It's
The
not
this is mid-engine, so
yeah.
so that's why. So, okay, and I guess neither of you have too much experience or, you know, memories with this car, so we'll just go straight to the next one. The next one I think is a lot more. It is the Honda Acura Integra, and guys, I'm just doing the whole Integra line because, you know, there's been a few, but I want to do the Type R. I didn't put the Type R in there, and you know, the whole Integra, right, was produced from 86 to 2006, so that's kind of right after, you know, we got our driver's licenses, right, guys? So
Yep. This is the
Well,
bubble era of Japan.
I'm not quite that old, Sam, so my driver's license didn't come in till much later.
oh, okay, I beg your pardon. But anyways, but you know, Integras, everyone drove Integras almost, or everyone knew someone who drove Integras, right? Taro, did you?
Mhm. Yeah, no.
How about you,
I didn't
James?
have one, but my friend had one for sure.
So, yeah. How about you, James? Like when you were in Britain? I mean, were there Integras out on the road? I think there are Hondas over there, right? They're not Acuras.
That's correct. They're Honda Integras, yes. But I mean, they did have them in England and Australia. But funnily enough, I think I only knew one person with an Integra. And that was actually after I left Australia and was living in Japan that I actually got the Integra.
Okay. Well, the Integra line was produced, like I said, from 86 all the way to 2006. So that's not that far back. And if you guys remember, the
Michael
US.
J. Fox was in a commercial.
Who?
Michael J. Fox was in an Integra commercial in Japan.
Oh, he was? Oh,
Yeah. So that was like, this was like around the time,
Back to the Future,
Back
right?
to the Future came out,
Okay.
and he was in a Integra commercial,
Wow.
and it was, yeah. I mean, they had a lot of Hollywood movie stars doing car commercials back then.
Yeah. Well,
Remember?
like Bruce Willis, I go, what's he doing in a
Bruce,
Subaru commercial in
Taro.
Japan? Yeah.
Would you said that Michael J. Fox was integral to the role of the Integra played then?
Oh man, is this fun?
This is a pun.
I'm very
Well,
punny today.
Moving on. If you guys remember, the third generation model had those little bug eyes. Remember those little small round
Yeah.
headlights? God, I thought
Yeah.
those were ugly. That was the U.S.
Justin
version.
has one. Justin has one.
Who does?
Justin Kaler.
Oh,
Justin,
sorry, Dustin.
He has one.
With the little bug eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the Type R.
I'll
US.
go easy on it then. Okay, I didn't like that design too much. But the first
This
Type
is
R.
this is the DC5, right?
This is very good, Taro. This is the
Right.
DC5. Very good.
Yeah.
So the first Type
Thank you.
R came in 1995 with the third generation Integra model, right? That came with a 197 horsepower engine. And this is the fourth generation Integra model, which is the DC5, like you said. And it
Mhm.
came with the K20, a K20A engine.
A.
That produced 220 horsepower. It was a 2-liter inline four with IV-Tech. And despite being front wheel drive, the Type R's did battle with some. They were in a lot of option magazines and did best motoring
too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So this
we
this
tested
car
this
is
a lot in Japan.
so yeah. So the Integra Type R, especially the Japanese JDM model, was a very, very formidable car, and it's number 44 on our list. So
Yeah.
there you go. Are you guys okay with this? Go ahead.
The Spoon DC5 was very, very popular on our hot version videos.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It was a really cool car too.
It was, and it was fast, wasn't it?
It was fast.
It's
It
a
was
small
really
car
fast.
with, it's got 220 horsepower. That's
Yeah. I drove one of these press vehicles in Japan.
Oh, you did drive this one.
Yeah, the DC5 Type R in Japan. It was fast and it was fun. It was really, really fun.
Okay, so thumbs up from Taro.
Yes,
James,
for sure.
you've never driven the Integra, right?
I have not, but I did like, unlike you, Sam, I did like the styling of the third gen. But what
Wait, not you mean the U.S. third gen or
the Japan third gen?
The Japan third gen is fine. I'm talking about the U.S. third gen.
Okay. Yes, the Japan third gen is the one I'm a fan of. But what I really liked was the Type R version came with the red seats, and I really dug the idea of having the different color the red seats in there, and that's why I always thought it was so appealing.
So, anyways, usually in this top 50 list, I'll separate out some of the models, or some of the variants from different model years. But on this one, since it was only like 3 generations, I just said, okay, we're just going to do the accurate Integra Type R at number 44. So,
Sam, it's your list. You could do whatever you like on the list.
I thank you, James. That's what I was hoping you would say.
I mean, it's wrong, but you could do whatever you want.
It's not wrong. Okay, so anyways, let's go to our next one, number 43. Number 40.
Notice at the top of the screen here, James, it says Toyota Celica Coupe. So
What do you say?
At the top of the screen there.
My
forget
screen?
about it.
Oh.
People can't see it anyway.
Okay. Don't point it out.
Number 40.
Okay, number 43. Toyota Supra, okay, the A70. Okay, the reason I picked this one is, and this one is the third generation Supra model, but the reason I picked this one is at the third generation model, it lost the name Celica from its designation because it was always called the Celica Supra.
Celica Supra, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first one that is called just the Toyota Supra, the A70. And to be honest, the second gen model was, first to really look very like it's almost like a supercar, with the pop-up lights and, but because I chose this one because it was its own brand. 1987, I think, was when this thing came out. So do you guys remember this car at all?
Yeah, this is
Do you remember when the Supra came out? When the Celica, the one before
Celica Supra.
Yeah, it was awesome, wasn't it? I just go, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a Ferrari or
Is that a
Porsche? No?
Supra?
No, I didn't think. I didn't say that.
Well, we're totally dating ourselves, Sam, but
It's
this is
okay.
like,
This is history, man.
high school, college. I mean,
Yeah, I was
this
like in
thing was
high
awesome. I
school.
mean,
High
yeah.
school. High
Yeah,
school.
the
Junior high
Celica
school.
Supra was the high end, tier for the Celica, and then they branched it out to its own car when it came out as the Toyota Supra. I mean, this car was, I thought it was beautiful when it came out.
Me too. I mean, this is one of the cars that stands out when I like saw it on the road. Like, what the heck was that? So and I go,
Yeah.
it's Toyota. Oh my God, So,
Yeah.
any memories for you, James?
Not, funnily enough, not particularly. It's just this is one that just doesn't sort of stand out for me. If that makes sense. I think
Okay.
I might be because I'm a little younger than you two old fellas. So I'm
That
not
was
as in tune with these vintage cars like you are.
vintage.
I'm more hip and with it when cool with
Nostalgic cars. Let's call them nostalgic.
the youth. So it's not. I mean, for me, it's one that I'm sort of like It's the Mark IV is one that more stands out for me than the Mark III, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
I'll
the
let you
Mark IV
guys
is the
have
one
your
after
moment.
this. But
I'll let
This
you
is
have your
totally
moment with this
before
car.
his time. Yeah, this is Sam. This is like totally before James's time.
Oh, geez, he's freaking young, the younger generation. So, anyways, this thing came with this. It's a rear-wheel drive car. Came with a 3-liter inline six. Inline six now.
It's
not a-
hatchback. It's a hatchback, right, Sam?
Yes,
It
it
is
is.
a
Look at that
hatchback.
hatch. 200 horsepower. 1987, which is the car I'm picking. I forgot to put turbo in there, but they offered a turbocharged version of this car that had 232 horsepower. And this car came with all kinds of new technology, like ABS, um, driver settings for the power, damper rates. You could adjust the damper rates. So it was kind of a car that really brought the high tech into normal people's hands. Even though it was still pretty expensive at that time. It was about $23,000, I think. But when you think about what the European cars, the sports cars were selling for around then, it was a bargain. So, anyways, that's why I put this thing in number 43. It made the top 50 at the Toyota Supra Turbo A70. So,
Love it.
okay.
Thumbs up.
And number 42, moving on, is a car that is
It's a unicorn.
the unicorn. Yes. This is the SVX, the Subaru SVX, which is a car I think is a car that was totally ahead of its time, and was so far of its time that it didn't sell that much, but it had the window within a window. That was the really cool thing about it. So which really cut down on buffeting, and I drove one for a year, believe it or not. So I had one of these for a year.
Oh, you owned one?
No, it was a long-term car at road track. So,
okay.
but I had to take care of it. And I loved it, man. The styling, it doesn't look like any Subaru before it or after it. I would say it was a pen by Giugiaro, right? Of Italian design fame, and came with a flat 3-liter flat 6. And then, guys, how many other cars in the world, I think, had a 6-cylinder flat engine? Only one, and I think that's the Porsche 911. So it was in good company. 231 horsepower. But do you remember this one, Taro, at all?
Oh yeah, I remember. I thought it was.
Did you ever say, "Oh, I kind of want one"?
No, I never thought I wanted it. Like the Supra I wanted.
Right.
But this car was like more of like a car from the future. It really looked like a car from the future when it came out.
Car before its time.
Yeah.
James?
But never wanted one though.
I like this car. I think it's a good. I like the design of it, and I agree with everyone else that says this is a car that was ahead of its time. I will say the only thing that I don't think was ahead of its time was the wheels. I'm still not a fan of the
You're a
wheels.
big wheels guy. Yeah, you
I
do
am.
look at the wheels. Yeah.
And there definitely needs to, I mean, there's a big gap at that back section there where that wheel should have been fitting it out more. But other than that, I think it certainly is a great design in that sense, if that makes sense. I do like this car. I think it's
And
a
it
good
drove
looker.
well. I mean, I think it only came in automatic, so that was, but it was to me a true GT. It was kind of heavy at the time, at 3,500 pounds. So 0 to 60 was only about 7 seconds. But they sold 14,000 of these in the U.S., which I can't believe. And I haven't seen any driving around right for the last 20 years or so. I mean, do you ever see one of these? It'd be neat to see one.
I can't remember the last time I saw one of these.
So, but it was
wild.
Yeah, it was introduced in '91, so it was a while back, and I think it sold for about $25,000, so which was kind of expensive for a Japanese car. But as we said, it was a car ahead of its time. It's all-wheel drive, Subaru all-wheel drive. I think they offered a front-wheel drive one afterwards, but anyways, I thought it was good enough to hit 42 in my list.
Make the Samatani list.
Yes, sir. So we have one more car to do today. And another Honda. I'm not even a Honda guy, but now one of a few Civic Type Rs, or a couple Civic Type Rs to make this list. And this one is the FD2 Civic Type R, which is based on the 8th gen Civic. And since it came out, what year do I have that? Yeah, it's in the 2000s. So you guys all remember this car, correct? No?
Yes, we do. Clearly, yeah.
Oh yeah, Taro, you probably, this is right.
This is a new one. I mean, this
yeah,
is
it's pretty new.
When I think of Honda Civic Type R, I don't think of the FD2. I mean, I think of older ones.
Oh, older than this?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, this is still only the third Civic Type R offered, that. The first Type R was based on the 6th gen model, the EK9. And then came the EP3, and then this one. So it's still just the third one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I picked
the EK.
Oh, okay, the EK. Yeah. Well, that was the first one. So, and the reason I picked this one is because I like the looks better. Number one, and it was the first 4-door Type R. So this wasn't James a hatchback like the others. So
this is the one you raced too with Spoon.
Was it the FD2? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So that's probably another reason. And I like the Spoon version too, and the Mugen version is pretty awesome too. So, I don't know if you guys remember, but at the same time, this car was not marketed in the U.S. But so at the same time, Europe had a Type R, but it totally looked different. They called it the FN2. Do you remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
I think. Well, England had. I think it was mainly sold in Britain, right, James?
Yeah,
it was the one with the Union Jack in the back.
No, there's not.
Yeah. It had a Union Jack in the back.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, that, and I like the looks of this one better than the one, because I think the FN2 was still a hatchback, wasn't it, James?
It was, and so my cousin actually had one, and that was his favorite car he's ever owned. He still misses it to this day and talks about how much he enjoyed that Civic.
He would have liked this one better because this thing had about 25 more horsepower than the one in the European Type R one. But I remember reading about the European one, the FN2, and Evo in those British magazines, and yeah, it seemed like everyone loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this car was a significant improvement over the DC5, the Integra that we just covered, because it was kind of built on the same platform, but this one was way more rigid and had all kinds of aluminum on it, and it was at least, I think, a second faster around Tsukuba than the Tsukuba circuit, right? Or than the DC5. And they only made 13,000 units of the Type R of this one. So it's not like it's it flooded the marketplace. So, anyways, this is number 41. You guys like this car, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Civic Type R. I'm all about it.
Okay, so
I like
there
the
you have
Integra
it.
more though. It's a little bit bigger, so I like the Integra Type R better for some reason.
But this one's faster,
probably because
you're older,
driven it
Carl.
more. Yeah, and it's a little bit bigger, and it's probably because I've driven the Integra Type R more than the Civic Type R. I've driven the Civic Type R as well, but
this Civic Type R is quite a bit quicker than the DC. Integra Type R. So, but yeah, it's not all about speed, is it, Carl?
No.
No.
It's
Okay.
not.
But anyways,
But
that's
thumbs up then.
that's up to number 41. So and if any, if you guys are interested in seeing the rest of the list, let us know. If you guys have no interest in it, we could just stop at 41. So we'll see what kind of feedback we get on that. Taro.
We can't let our viewers just be hanging at 41 though.
Well, yes, we can. It could be just my little secret, but well, if they don't care, I don't want to do anything. They don't care. So
Taro, it's Sam's list. If Sam wants to go from 41 to 2, he can. It says he can do what he wants on it.
But wait. Okay, I'm
also
gonna ask you guys honestly now. Are you guys kind of wondering? Are you guys curious of what else is on the list as we get closer to 1?
I'll let you go first, Taro, with your diplomatic answer.
That's not a good sign, James.
Yeah, sure. I'm curious. I would love to know what you have.
I just don't like the
From 40
the-
I
to
mean,
the-
I just don't like the
I'm curious to find.
intonation
Can't you-
of that answer.
Can't
I'm
you hear
curious.
the enthusiasm?
Yeah, I just
I just think I'm more curious to find out which cars he calls hatchbacks or not, and then I'm more opposed to being more perplexed by the numbering of his system.
You're insulting my top 50 list. My God. Okay, who's next?
No, I'm interested though. I'm interested to see what
Where
you
your
think
favorite
are
car
your-
might rank. So,
I-
but if anything, it'll be a history lesson because there's going to be some old cars in that thing, but they are
Yeah, I'm
all
sure a lot of
enthusiast
people
cars.
have not heard of some of these cars. Yeah.
They are all enthusiast cars, so that you're not going to get some of those 1930s big Nissan sedans or anything like that. These are all enthusiast cars.
Would